This is Trophy Gold, where the wheat grows tall, part two. I want to do just a very little bit of recap from last time, and then we'll get going. So we're minus Darren, which means we're minus Osto today, but that's okay. I think we'll be able to work around that pretty easily. Last time, the group, we learned that you had gotten your hands on an old soldier's map that seemed to indicate that there was some treasure buried in a wheat field on this one particular farm in in a region of the Lavasti countryside. And so you were sort of making your way to that farm. And on the way, you had a few encounters and met up at this like sort of nearby village where they were having this this feast day celebration. And you learned a little bit about the farm in particular. It's owned by a family called the Polotnikovs, and you knew that already, but the Polotnikovs, apparently, historically, the ancient Polotnikovs used to deal in Fey magic and used to do deals with the Fey people of the land that they lived on, and the Fey helped them have bountiful crops. They worked together. But then eventually the demands of the Fae got to be too onerous. And so the Polotnikovs, the old Polotnikovs, decided to wall up the wheat field where the Fae entities lived. And so they walled it up and they just farmed the land on the other side of the wall. And they left the side with the Fae people like walled up behind the field. And so that's the sort of like ancient history of that land. You also learned that the Polotnikovs were expected to be at this particular festival, and they weren't there, which was a cause of perhaps some concern that an elder told Rose that that was an unusual thing. And so that is, that's sort of the backdrop of what's going on in this adventure. You had a couple of things happen at the festival. Well, the most significant thing is that you all started to become aware that there might actually be a monstrous pig entity somewhere in the area, and that these people didn't realize that they actually are appeasing it, right? It's not just like some little custom that they do. And so as everyone sort of did perform the ritual to appease this beast, Torbold, or whatever it is, it rescinded. But it was interesting that one of the characters, I can't recall who it was either, was it, I can't remember if it was Tove, Rose, or Talia. One of the characters did not do the thing that you're supposed to do. And so I sort of hinted out of character that this might come back to haunt you. Do any of you recall who did not shame the dog?
It was Talia.
Yeah.
It was Tove. Okay.
Talia.
no,
Oh, Talia.
Talia.
It was Talia. Okay, good. Yeah. So Talia, that may come back to haunt you. We'll see. Who knows? But in any case, that's out of character information. So, and that's sort of where we left things. You all had found a little bit of treasure. If we kind of go and look through the sort of core block of information that we need every time. Tove, you have 3 burdens and you have 1 gold towards that meeting those burdens. You have a hunt roll token and you have 2 ruin. Rose, you have 3 burdens, you have 2 gold towards that goal. You have 3 hunt roll tokens actually, and 3 ruin. And Talia, you have 2 burdens, 1 gold, 1 hunt roll token, and 2 ruin. I'll remind you that hunt roll tokens can be used in one of 2 different ways. You can spend them 1 for 1 to find treasure, and or you can combine them and spend 3 at a time collectively, or one of you can do it. You can spend 3 at a time to automatically achieve whatever the set goal happens to be. And so that is where things sort of stand right now. No one has any conditions right now. I will note that while you are getting pretty close to meeting, like Rose, for example, is getting pretty close to meeting her burdens, but you usually need more gold than your burdens in order to heal up and stuff, depending on how the adventure goes. So just kind of bear that in mind. But if you don't meet your burdens before you need to go back to town, then your character is retired from play. So that's kind of the big penalty there. Any other questions or anything else I need to be reminded of before we begin? Fabulous.
I don't think so.
Okay, great. If you all will change your screen names to your character, that'd be great. It helps me a lot. And I think with all that said, we're going to fast forward a little bit. I'll get some water. It's the next day. We'll say you spent the night, in revelry and at that village. And the next day you head out, you make the fairly short journey to the Polotnikov farm. And when you arrive at the Polotnikov farm, if you want to take a look at the image board, I have put out a little map for you there. And you sort of are approaching, there's the gate, little wooden fence, and the gate to the fence is open. And straight ahead, you see the farmhouse. To the west, you see the barn, a granary, and some other things. And to the east, you see, probably most strikingly, a great tree growing over the legendary stone wall. I will tell you that the west side of the farm has a set goal. That set goal, I will tell you now, is free Oleg from his imprisonment. I'll type that for you. Who knows what it means? Who knows what it means, but find out. So you're approaching, I think at this point time of the day, by the time you get there, it's probably around like late morning, like say 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. The sun is not completely high in the sky, but it's fairly high in the sky. And it's a bright, clear day. And I will start with Rose. What do you do? You don't see anyone around, by the way.
Correct. Well, if we're going to be guests on a property, it's normally polite to introduce yourselves. Wouldn't you agree? And she's just kind of talking to like the rest of the party.
In civilized society, of course.
Introduce ourselves to whom? There's nobody out here.
Well, perhaps we can knock on the door. It's not as if they're bandits around a fire.
As far as we can see. And Rose kind of starts walking up to the main farmhouse.
Yeah. Okay, so Rose, you're walking up to the farmhouse. Tove, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm kind of doing, I can see it like cinematically, like walking and like turning completely around and like looking around the farm and, hello, kind of just announcing ourselves.
Tove, you can take a hunt roll if you want. I'll remind you, we're using the die roller in the trophy Discord, and taking a look at your dice, you always get one die. You get a second die if one of your skills or a piece of equipment can help you in just sort of generally assessing the lay of the land here.
I don't think any of my skills are particularly apt. I'm not super good at noticing things. I think maybe more avoiding things.
Avoiding trouble.
Taking people by surprise, but not. So no, I think I'll take the one.
I will tell you that this is probably a good time to teach part of the game as we're sort of learning it. You have 3 slots in your backpack equipment. There are drop-down arrows on those slots. You can, anytime you wish, you can basically pick something from the drop-down. And it's as if you brought that with you. So, and those items can also be used in your hunt rolls and things. So just kind of bear that in mind.
So if I had a whistle,
yeah, that would be pretty good. Yeah.
Toot, announce our presence.
Well, and also you can just write things in. Like you don't have to choose from the drop down. You can just say, I brought this. And,
sure.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you want to do that with one die then, or do you want to try to find something to use?
Yeah, I'll do the one die. Yeah,
I
right,
can do it.
just like, hello.
Hello, hello. Yeah, /hunt1.
Yeah.
All right. So you take a hunt roll token, but you encounter something terrible, which we'll talk about in a moment. Meanwhile, Talia, what are you doing?
Talia is going to follow behind Rose because that seems like the nice, mellow, meeting new people kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
So
indeed.
rather than wander off into the where who knows where is what, she's going to follow behind Rose for now.
Very good. Rose and Talia, you are approaching the house. I will tell you that it's from about 50 paces away, it's pretty quiet. There is a wind vane sort of turning in the wind and creaking as it turns. There's a wind chime hanging from the porch overhang, tinkling, but otherwise quite quiet. However, as you step up to the porch, you can hear some noise coming from the inside, rather noisy noise. The clacking of dishes, say, and clumping about. Rose, what do you do?
Give it a hearty knock on the front door and just kind of yell, well, not yell, but like speak up, like, Polotnikov's, is anyone home?
It gets very, very quiet all of a sudden. You heard some noise, some clacking, and then it just gets very, very quiet. What do you do?
She kind of like looks back at Talia and just sort of like, we were at the festival and noticed you weren't there. Is everything all right? I'm trying to like, seem as like friendly and concerned as possible, not like they're just trying to look for treasure on someone else's farm.
You hear a and a loud whistle. It's a kettle. And the kettle is whistling very, very loud. I just got the setup professional audio prompt from Zoom. I guess they didn't like my sound effect there. And you hear this loud kettle whistle, and whoever is like, they're probably supposed to be getting the kettle, but they're not. They're like not moving. So the kettle is just whistling wildly at this point. Tove, I'll pick up with you. So Tove, you were kind of walking around calling out.
Yeah.
You actually hear a voice respond. You all hear this, by the way, but this is for Tove. You hear a voice. It's a distant voice, but faint, but you can hear it, and it says, "Hello, hello, is someone up there?" Do you follow it?
Yeah, I see a well in the distance. Does it seem like it's coming from the
It is
western
indeed
side
coming
of
from the well. Yes,
All
it
right.
is.
Oh, someone's got themselves into a predicament. Yeah,
Seemed like
I'm
it.
gonna go over and take a gander at the well.
The voice is definitely coming from the well. From the bottom of the well, the voice sounds like a young woman. She says, "Hello, I fell down the well, and I don't know what happened to my relatives, but there was some chaos, there was some commotion, and they just left me down here."
Who would leave a nice young thing down there in the well? It sounds like a young girl, you said.
Yeah, like a young woman. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just sort of poke my head over the top of the well. Can I see down?
You can't see to the bottom. I don't think the sun is quite high enough in the sky yet. In any case, it's quite a narrow, deep shaft. But she says, "My name is Svana. I'm I'm a cousin of the Polotnikovs. I was visiting, and well, there was some sort of trouble, and something pushed me down here.
How long have you been down there? All night? No one seems to be around up here. I'll start like making noise, like I'm unhooking like a bucket or
Yeah, we'll come back to
something. Okay.
Talia and Rose, the kettle is whistling wildly, and whoever's in there is trying to pretend like they're not there, or at least be very quiet. They should be grabbing the kettle, but they're not.
I will bang on the door twice and I will say, "Fear not, good people. We're simply visiting. Come out and make yourself known."
You hear a voice underneath the crack of the door. Underneath, you hear it beneath the whistling, and the voice says, "I cannot open the door."
Oh, would you like us to open it for you?
Yes, I think you ought.
Okay, well, we'll open the door. I mean, sorry, go ahead, Rose.
Oh yeah, Rose is just gonna kind of like give Talia like a really kind of incredulous look and ask, why can't you open the door? It sounds like you were making tea earlier.
I cannot open the door. The missus had to leave, and she sometimes keeps me here when she has to leave.
Talia looks at Rose. She's super puzzled, does not understand what's going on at all. Shrugs and reaches for the doorknob. If Rose doesn't stop her, she'll open the door.
Nah, Rose gives you room to open the door. Probably readies her bow though. No arrow, just has it on hand.
Yeah, you open the door,
Mhm.
and on the other side of the door, there is the tiniest little man you've ever seen. He's probably like knee high, maybe not even that. He's very, very small. And he's very small, and he's covered in like, it looks like a fur onesie that's sort of wearing on his body. And he has like very, very oversized eyes. And he says, we'll come in, I suppose. And he goes deeper into the house.
Okay, I'll open the door wide and step inside.
Rose will just kind of like, I guess, glance over at Tove, see he's busy with whomever was in the well, and just kind of like follow Talia in.
Come back to that. So Tove, you said you were sort of like making sounds like you're gonna lower the bucket.
Well, I start unhooking the bucket. Presumably
Yeah.
it's latched up or something.
She says, "Oh, thank you so much. I've been down here for what seems like hours and hours."
Are you standing up down there?
Well, I hurt my leg when I fell. I may need some assistance getting out.
Naturally, and I start lowering, turning the crank with one hand, and my other hand I've got my hand on my wicked looking stiletto.
Yeah. You can feel her weight as she grabs onto the bucket.
Okay.
And she says, "Okay, I think I'm secure. Go ahead and pull me up."
About how far down can I make out like the walls of the well?
Oh, I mean, you'll have enough light to like, once she gets within, you'll be able to like get a good look at her before she gets all the way to the top, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. I've heard tales of farmers' daughters out in the country. So you said I can feel her weight. Is it enough that I can like crank it one-handed?
I mean, no, I think you actually might need some help.
All right.
Yeah, you might need some help to actually hoist her up. Because you don't, looking at your picture, you don't seem to
not
hale and hardy.
particularly brawny. No. Rose, Talia, and I kind of just like call out over my shoulder. Just a moment, dear. I'm going to get some help.
Well,
What-
Rose and Talia, you hear Tove calling after you.
I think I'll be fine here. Do you want to check on Tove?
Certainly. And Rose rushes out to help Tove.
Yeah. There seems to be a young girl down the well. I think she says she's a cousin visiting the farm. Fell down the well and got stuck down there. No one's brought her out.
Well, I guess we're the ones to do that. And Rose kind of like hoists up the leather greaves that are like always kind of like cuffed down her hands and rubs them together and starts trying to like crank the well handle thing.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So Talia, you've gone inside the farmhouse, and this little man, this tiny little man, he's quite nimble, and he just keeps he's just cleaning and stacking the same stack of clean dishes over and over again. Like, he grabs a perfectly clean plate and dips it into a basin of water and cleans it and dries it and puts it back in another stack, and then grabs another clean plate and does the same thing. He's just doing literally busy work at this point.
Okay.
And he says, have you seen Mother Galina or Father Piotr or any of the other family?
I'm afraid not. I'm actually looking for them. You don't know where they are?
No. They don't tell me anything. They don't tell me anything at all. Oleg just works and works.
Sorry, remind me, how tall is this guy?
Really little. Like, he probably comes up to your knee. He's so tiny.
So the reason the door didn't open is because he can't reach the door. Most
Well,
likely.
maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it, but that's
Okay.
maybe.
All right. I'm sorry. You look so small. What are you? I've never seen anyone like you.
How unusual. I am frequently told that I am quite big for my kind.
Oh, what is your kind?
Oh, well. Well, and he says, my sister and I, we came from the wheat field to work for the family. She's even bigger than me.
Oh, well, I think my friends are helping someone else, but I can go find out. You know, those dishes you're washing are already clean. Are you sure you're okay?
Well, what else am I supposed to do until they get back?
Well, you could go help us look for them. Where would they be?
Oh, no, I can't leave the house.
Oh, why?
I am bound to this place.
Oh,
Mother Galina, she's very, very talented in the old ways. I cannot leave.
That's unfortunate. Well, I should probably find her so that she can help you out, since I don't have any particular skill in what you likely will need to stop washing your dishes.
Well, I could do some sweeping, I suppose. And he goes and grabs a very, very tiny broom and begins sweeping.
How long have they not been here?
He says, well, it has been at least 2 turns of the sun, though
My goodness.
I lose track of time here.
All right. Well, I'll be right back, I say, and I'm going to go back out, and I'll leave the door open, but I'm heading over to see Rose and Tove.
So Rose and Tove, you start to see the young woman come into view as sort of rising up from the darkness of the well shaft, and you can see as you're sort of slowly hoisting her up. Tove, what do you do?
Yeah, does she make eye contact? Can
No, she doesn't. She's actually looking down. Maybe she's like just, I don't know. She's just kind of looking down.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give some encouraging words. Look up. We'll take your hand, and I'm kind of like turning and sharing a look with Rose. Not that it's necessarily suspicious, but like coordinating, like making sure that we'll be able to like we're turning this crank. She's coming up, making sure that Rose and I are both set to hook her. I don't know if there's like a little catch or something that would keep it from just unspooling.
Yeah, that's
but
fine. Yeah, we'll say there is.
Yeah, just trying to get her to look up. Presumably, we can make out that she's dressed and wet.
Yeah,
and...
she's wearing a shawl, and that appears to be embroidered with like sort of patterns of like bright orange and red flowers, and a dress in similar colors. And she looks up at you, and you see that her eyes are this same sort of like vivid amber color of the decoration of her dress. And she says, "Thank you so much." And she's just at the lip of the well, Rose. She can't quite pull herself out. Do you help her up?
Yeah, definitely. Like Rose, extends a hand.
She climbs out, and just one moment, I'll take a look at something. She climbs out and she says, "Oh, thank you so much." She says, "It feels so good to have the sun on my skin again. I don't think I could have lasted much longer down there in the dark."
Why don't we get you inside and let you dry off and warm up? Rose lets her lean on her to help her to the house.
She does, or she sort of does use you sort of like as a crutch to sort of she's getting her strength back, getting her legs up from underneath her a little bit. She's still limping quite a bit. She can't get along too well. She does seem to have injured her leg, as she noted. And so you're taking her to the farmhouse?
Yep.
How'd you end up falling down the well? I mean, it's not something you can just trip into.
And you reach the porch, and Talia, you might be coming out around this time. And Oleg, the little man, screeches when he sees Svana on your shoulders, Rose. He says, "No, no, throw her back down the well, quickly, quickly."
That hardly seems very sociable.
What?
Hurry, hurry.
Does she have any down the well? Does she have any similar reaction upon seeing Oleg? I've never seen Oleg, but
she's currently on fire.
Oh, okay.
And
that's hot.
She's like wreathed in a nimbus of flame, and her eyes are glowing bright. And she sends like this like beam of searing heat like directly into the house, and it just blasts the far wall, just like pow, it leaves like a burn mark. And you're in combat with her. Let's do this.
All right.
So she is endurance. She's endurance 7. And the way this works is you first have to tell me how your character, if you're participating in the combat, you don't have to. You first have to tell me how your character is vulnerable in this scene. And then you roll /weak to establish your weak point. So I'll start with Rose. Rose, how are you vulnerable right now?
Well, I have a flaming person kind of using me as support. So you know, pardon the pun, but I'm directly in the line of fire.
Mhm. Go ahead and roll /weak. Let's see what your weak point is. Okay, 4. Great.
4.
And Tove, how are you vulnerable?
I think I was between her and Rose and the door, so I'm caught right between her and Oleg. Presumably, she had a little bit of a controlled blast with that first shot, maybe trying to aim for him explicitly, but I'm sort of right in the way for any
In
further
the line of fire, yeah.
Exactly.
If she goes, especially if she goes after Oleg. Talia, are you doing the combat? And if so, how are you vulnerable?
So I have a question first before I talk about combat, and that is, if you have a ritual, how does that apply before the combat, or can you use it during combat?
So the way we handle it, it's just fictional positioning and narrative.
Okay.
So you can just work it into the narrative of what you're doing. There actually
Okay.
are rituals and combat rules coming, but it's not done yet. So
Okay. In that case, I'm in the house. The house is probably not that big, and there's fire in the house, so I'm pretty sure I'm vulnerable.
Indeed. Okay, that sounds great. So everybody get your weak points. So we have a 2, a 4, and what's your weak point, Talia? Go ahead and roll /weak.
/weak.
Okay. Right. So those are the numbers we want to avoid. The higher ones are worse. And now we do a combat 3 because there are 3 of you. So Rose, why don't you take it? Roll /combat 3. Okay, you did it. 6, 1, and 1. We look for the 2 highest. So that's 7, and the creature's endurance is 7 or less. And no one's weak point was hit either. So congratulations. You successfully defeat this creature. First round of combat or the first move will go to Tove. Tove, give us the first part of the combat. What's happening here?
Yeah, so over my leather jacket, I wear a cloak as is befitting a footpad of my pedigree, and I'm used to like a bit of a flourish with it, with my acrobatics, both donning it and removing it. So with a flourish, I take it off and I kind of like wrap her up, much like you would anyone who is unintentionally caught on fire, to try and put it out. But it also kind of blocks her sight and immobilizes her a little bit.
All right, Talia, give us the next part of the combat. What are you doing?
I'm gonna grab the basin full of water that's being used to wash dishes and throw it on the creature.
Nice, very good. And Rose, finish the creature off.
Rose kind of just shoulder checks the creature off of her and just grabs an arrow, doesn't even knock it, and just drives it into the thing's chest.
Nice. And upon death, she just sort of like burns up into a pile of ash and cloth. Talia, do me a favor and roll gold 7 /gold 7.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great result. So you are going to be able to retrieve harvest stuff from the remains of the creature equal to 2 gold. So 2 things worth 1 gold. The way you'll note this is on your character sheet, you'll put it in found equipment and just put a note in parentheses that it's worth 1 gold, but it stays in found equipment. It does not go to your gold counter. But there are 2 things to take. Whoever wants to take them, you can all decide amongst yourselves. But if you decide to take one, you must say what of value is left over. So
I think Tove should probably take one for like getting the girl out of the well first. And I think Talia could go with one too, because Rose already took something earlier in this game.
Okay.
I think the girl had like a gold tooth, and
Nice.
surprisingly survived the heat of her conflagration. So yeah, I'll take
You
that.
could put gold tooth and then a note that's worth 1 gold in your found equipment. And Talia, what are you finding?
I have a very, very, very small ruby that has a flame inside it that used to be this creature's heart.
Nice, I like it. It's good. Add that to your found equipment. And you all collectively get the privilege of adding this creature to the bestiary. You have to name it to add it to your rune stag. You have to name the creature, and I'll note that it's 7 endurance. But come up with a name at some point. And yeah. So a lively introduction to Polotnikov Farm. The little Oleg man, he sort of peers out the threshold of the door from behind the door, and he says, "Is it gone? Did you push it down the well?"
I think we did one better.
Oh, good,
It
good.
won't be coming back.
Mother Galina pushed her down the well before she went missing.
So what was that?
A spirit of the noon flame.
And you said Mother Galena pushed her down the well before she went missing.
Yes, yes. Well, I heard her say such. She said, "I'm going to push that girl down the well," and then she went missing.
Oh, by the way, this is Oleg. He's been trying to take care of the house for the past 2 days at least. The family's been missing that long. And he can't leave the house because he's bound to it because Galena is some sort of witch.
Well, I guess that explains why they weren't at the festival last night.
Why? Because she's a witch?
No, because they're missing.
Oh, yes.
And like they're not here in the house.
So the house, let's talk about the house. It's a fairly simple building. The ground floor is a sort of kitchen and eating area, and it's bisected with another room that is like a sort of general living area. And then there's a ladder that goes up to a higher floor where there are essentially like beds and things for the family to live in, sleep in. And a quick glance around. I mean, Tove, you're gonna go look around the house. I mean, or are you just asking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm investigating. I go poking my nose in places it doesn't exactly belong, but
Yeah, that's fair. Tell me how you're doing it, and then make a HUD roll.
okay. Yeah, I will start with the sleeping chambers. Make sure they're not hiding in any chests or under any beds or
Okay, yeah.
like
So you
that.
go, so you can climb the ladder, and it's essentially just a big like loft upstairs with just beds for the family members, each of the family members. I think there's 5 of them, and I believe that's right. Let me check. 1, 2, 3. Yeah,
No one under this bed. No one
there's
under...
6 of them. 6 of them. Go ahead and make a HUD roll.
Okay. And in this case, oh, Lily, stop. Goodness. Yeah, there's no real, apart from being part of my foot paddiness, there's no real skills to add to that.
Okay. Take your token. You got a 6. You get a hunt roll token, and looking under the beds, you don't see anything too remarkable. You don't see any family members hiding or anything like that. You do, however, under one of the beds, find what appears to be a book.
Interesting. Books are usually pretty valuable. Does it yeah, I take it out and take a look at it. Does it
Yeah, the book appears to be like a book of fairy tales, like old fairy tales, fairy stories, except that there are notes in the margins.
Excellent. Are there are there pictures in this book?
Some, yeah.
Any pictures that look like something like Oleg?
Yeah. You can learn from, well, do another hunt roll, and you can use the book as the basis for your second die.
Okay. You say a hunt roll?
But do it with 2.
But yeah, not a risk roll, just a hunt.
Yep. Okay, so you got another 6, take another token. Yeah, you'll learn from looking through the book that Oleg is a house spirit. The house spirits can be basically bound to service, and they just help around the house. They usually come in pairs, brother and sister pairs. And yeah, that's what you learn. So pick up with Talia and Rose. So Talia and Rose, you're downstairs. Oleg will just go back to cleaning and doing his work. What are you doing?
I'm gonna ask Oleg, what keeps you in the house? I know the magic keeps you, but does Galina have some token or something that she uses to ensorcel you?
He says, I do not know.
Rose is going to be kind of putting out whatever small fires there are and just ambiently sort of cleaning, half hoping to sort of stumble upon something like useful or some kind of clue, mostly just making sure the house doesn't fall down while we're in it.
You could do a hunt roll. Go for it.
That's a 4.
Okay, take your token, but you encounter something terrible. You're not noticing really anything else in the house, at least as far as like just as you've described it anyway. You're not noticing anything particularly different. You do get your token though. However, you will notice as you're looking out the window across the way to the granary, you will see a figure wrapped in old rags and like wearing a dress, old rags, but with the head of like a stag's skull. You will see it like unlocking the padlock to the granary and going inside the granary and closing the no, that doesn't work. Hold on. You see them going inside the granary and then closing it, and then there is that's it. That's all you see.
And just to be clear, on the map, the granary would be
On the map, it's spot 4.
spot 4. Okay, cool. I also just remembered I got from the stag a secret of the Polotnikov farm. I know I asked about it earlier, but would I be able to invoke this?
Yeah, so basically
While
the
we're
way
here.
it works is it's really abstract. You basically can just say you're doing it and get a bonus slide die on a roll. So, and
Okay,
if you want to inform what it is, how it helps you, you can do that. But
awesome, yeah. Then I think I'll wait on that while we're investigating a little more. But yeah, Rose is definitely gonna call Oleg over and say, Oleg, the granary over there, I think I just saw someone enter it.
he says, yes, that would be my sister, Vierga.
Bierga. She wears rags and a stag skull.
She does not wear such a skull. That is her head.
Oh, forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm not accustomed to such physicalities. What is she doing? I thought she would have a similar job to yours.
Well, she did in a way. She helped the family until things changed.
You've mentioned that a couple times. Things changed. What exactly happened?
I don't know. I don't know. They don't tell Oleg anything.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. I just thought you may have overheard or seen something. You are a very spry young man, after all,
I am over 900 years old. Thank you very much.
and you look amazing for your age.
He
Well,
goes back to sweeping.
niceties aren't Rose's strong suit.
Talia, what are you up to?
Talia's gonna your sister is in the granary. Is she bound to the granary as well, like as you are here?
No, no, no. She cast off her servitude to the family some days ago.
Oh, well, maybe she can help you then.
No, no, no. She is the one that needs the help. I can help her, but I can't leave this place.
Oh, does she know that?
I don't know what she knows. No one tells me anything.
All right. Well, let me go see if I can talk to her, and I will come back with news, hopefully. I look at Rose. Did you want to come along, or are you going to keep Oleg company?
Rose is gonna not keep Oleg company, but poke around and maybe see if she can invoke that secret that she learned while y'all are off investigating.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else to learn in the house. I think the house is
Oh, okay.
pretty well cleared out. Well, that's not true. You can still learn how to free Oleg in the house, but that's it. So,
Okay.
but you have to do it in a certain way. So just tell me what you're specifically doing.
Man, I guess.
Or spend those tokens.
Actually, yeah, I don't really know enough, and I don't really want to spend my tokens, to be honest. So, I mean, Oleg's worth it, and I want to free him, but there's more we can learn. So I think Rose is gonna try to sheepishly skirt out of the house with Talia. She's put too many feet in her mouth as is.
Tove, once you're done doing your research in the fairy tale book and learn some basics about Oleg at least, and Vierga a little bit, what do you do?
Yeah, so I sort of sit, assuming they're like slats, some sort of like a railing across the top of this loft. I kind of sit like with my face between them and looking down at Oleg, and I'm just gonna make some conversation with them. Like, so you're a house spirit, and you said Mother Galena kind of has you stuck here, huh?
Yes, she is talented in the old ways.
Well, if she's gone, doesn't that make you free?
No, no, no. That is precisely why she has bound me here, because she's not here.
Well, how can you what if she died?
Then I would be stuck here forever.
Well, there's got to be some way to let you off the hook.
I don't know anything. No one tells me anything.
That's not a good way to live. So listen, are you stuck to the house or are you stuck to the farm? Your sisters? I heard Rose and Talia talking, and it sounds like your sister's out in the barn.
You will learn that he cannot cross the door thresholds. That is
Okay.
the main thing.
Yeah.
Or physically open the doors for that matter.
What if I were to throw you outside?
He says, I am not inclined to be thrown.
What if I carried you over the threshold?
Like a babe in your arms? No, thank you, sir.
I give you a piggyback ride.
Do you consider me some sort of child?
Well,
Timothy loves piggyback rides, but Timothy is only 10 years old.
right, you are. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to see whether you like being here or whether you would rather be somewhere else.
goes back sullenly to cleaning, having been sufficiently offended by all of you.
Fantastic. All right, I'm gonna climb down the ladder and you got any bread here? And see if I can get like a crust of bread and just sort of nibble on while I
He says,
walk out
no.
to suit yourself. And I'll kind of make a big show of stepping over the threshold and walking my way out towards the barn, the granary.
Indeed. Well, let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and continue.
All right.
So Talia and Rose, you were first over to the granary. And the granary is, much as it looks in the picture, just a sort of sort of large structure, a simple structure. Interestingly, it's on razors, so like you can crawl underneath it. And then it has some steps going up to the door. Rose, what do you do?
Rose wants to take a stealthy approach to this since we are gonna cast off her servitude, says Oleg. So she doesn't know how dangerous the spirit is. Probably like hunches down a little bit, hand back, and like looks back at Talia and does like the stereotypical finger over the mouth and wants to slowly approach. Are there like slats or something that she can like look into?
Yeah, I think so. You are you gonna like crawl under and look through the floorboards or look through the outside walls?
Maybe just the outside walls right now.
Do a hunt roll.
Would my hunting skill be useful here? Because I figure I have to be quiet to stalk my prey.
Oh, and like kind of being able, like sort of eagle-eyed as well. Yeah, I'm into it. Go for it. Yeah.
That is, double 4.
Yeah, so that you get a 4, or you get a token, and you encounter something terrible. So you're looking through the little, as best you can. They're pretty tight, but you do manage to see one that has like a knot in the wood, so you kind of get a good look, And there's enough ambient light inside for you to kind of see a little bit of what's happening. And you will see this creature. It's tall, probably like, 7-8 feet tall, but hunched over. And it has a stag skull head and glowing green eyes and long talon-like claws as it sort of like shuffles along the granary bins. And you hear it muttering, "They got what they deserved. They all got what they deserved." What do you do? Or Talia, what do you do at this point?
Is that all open information, or is that just something that Rose?
That's just Rose, something Rose
Okay.
sees. But what are you doing in the meantime?
Okay. For right now, I'm going to wait since Rose asked for it to be quiet. I think just sort of what I had planned to do means I should wait a little bit just to let her get her bearings.
Okay, so Rose, I assume you share that information with Talia.
Definitely, yeah. Rose is creeped out by this as well, so definitely not looking the best. She's just muttering to herself. She says they got what they deserved. So whatever happened here must have been horrible.
Well, I say we're trying to help Oleg, so I don't think it hurts us to announce ourselves. Do you want to stand back while I do so?
I think that's not the best idea, but I will help protect you.
Okay.
So yeah, she'll take out her bow and go back a few paces and ready it in case stuff hits the proverbial fan.
So Talia, what do you say?
I say, Virga, we've been talking to Oleg. He's trapped in the house and we're looking for a way to free him. Can you help us?
You hear shuffling and clattering approaching the general direction of where you're standing. And Virga speaks back to you. She says, Oleg is a fool. He chose his imprisonment.
So we shouldn't free him?
Do what you will. I am content to serve her.
You mean Galena? You said you weren't serving her.
The creature walks back to where it was.
Is the door open or is it closed? And she's just not. She
It
didn't.
is closed.
Oh, she was talking through the door. Okay.
But she's talking through like just the wood. You know.
Okay. What happened to the family? I say.
You hear from a distance, like a little deeper inside the granary, but she does reply. She says, lazy layabouts, all of them. Useless to the Noon Lady. And those who are useless to the Noon Lady receive punishment.
Are you the hand that punished them?
There's no reply.
Yeah. Rose will kind of regroup with Talia.
Just
Well,
I'm
Tove,
very
you can join them at
confused.
this point, Tove.
So I think I'm not so oblivious that I don't see them kind of hunched down. Well, I guess maybe I even overhear some of the conversational tone as I'm approaching. Yeah, I kind of like try and strain my my neck, trying to look into the slats. I'm like, what are we looking at? Is this Vierga?
I say, yeah, she's inside, but not inclined to come out or see us directly. And she seems to blame her brother for his predicament in the first place. And she hinted that the family was being punished, but something about a Noon Lady, and I don't really know what that means.
Didn't Oleg call what's it? Oh, flame britches. Wasn't she a Noon something or other?
No, I thought she was a flame something.
I thought
Actually,
she was
we
a
do need to name
lion.
her. This is a good time to name her, actually. What are we going to call her? Or these creatures? These fiery, wraith-like creatures.
I
Oh, a
found
spirit of the noon flame is what Oleg called her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I missed the Noon part. I got
Yeah.
spirit. I thought it was new flame. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
actually just like that.
Spirit of the noon flame.
Spirit of the Noon Flame.
If there are no objections, we can call it that.
That works. Let Oleg do the hard work.
Okay, well, so let's continue the scene. So what are you all doing?
Uh, well, I'll let them know that Oleg, his binding seems at least as encompassing as not being able to tell us like how he could be freed. He seems he thinks only Galena can do that, and if she's gone, we'll have to find some other way. Did he say? Did Vierga? I'm asking Rose and Talia. Did Vierga say what had happened to the family?
No, just that they were being punished. Or she
She called-
implied that they were being punished.
She called them lazy layabouts.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, this farm doesn't look like it's in terribly good upkeep. I'm inclined to agree with her.
I'm inclined to investigate their barn. I wonder if we could glean any more information from there, since Vierga doesn't seem to want to converse with us.
Fair enough. Well, let's head over there and see what we can find.
Let's all go over as a group this time, stick together.
As you approach the barn, you'll see that it has what appears to be a new coat of paint, though it's only half finished. So there's like bright, fresh red paint and then like sort of weathered wood on the other half of it. And you can even see a spilled bucket of paint dried and cracking in the baking sun. Whatever happened suddenly. The windows have all been half boarded up.
Are the front doors locked at all, or can they be opened?
They are open, in fact.
Oh. Yeah. Rose.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Rose is gonna kind of head on in to the barn, just looking around.
You will see a draft horse and a number of cows collected inside the barn. Stacks of hay, farming tools hanging on hooks. What do you do?
Feed them. It's probably been a little while since they've eaten.
Okay.
Is her like first inclination, being a former like serf. She's definitely used to animals and stuff, and that just sort of kicks in. She's
Yeah,
like,
go
there's
ahead.
2 other people, they can poke around.
Yeah, so you can go grab hay from the bales and be feeding the animals. I like that. Talia, what are you doing?
Talia doesn't know a whole lot about barns or animals or anything like that. She wrinkles her nose and, is there an upstairs to the barn?
There's a hay loft up top, yeah.
Oh, well, I'll climb up there and see if anyone's hiding up there and call out. Anyone
Yeah.
up here?
Do a hunt roll.
Hunt roll. Well, I'm pretty sure forensics is the closest thing I've got, but I don't think it's really appropriate here,
Yeah,
even
probably
though it
not.
is clue finding. So hunt 1.
Hunt 1, unless you have a piece of equipment.
Ooh, no, I do not have equipment.
Lit torch in the hayloft.
Only something terrible.
You encounter something terrible. Up in one of the hay stacks, Talia, you see one of the hay piles start to quiver. And you hear from inside it. What do you do?
Say, it's okay. We're here to help. What, show yourself.
You hear weeping.
I call down below and I say, there's someone up here or something up here. And I step off the ladder to go and see what it is. I go over to it.
Yeah. Tove, what are you doing in the meantime?
Yeah, I sort of witnessed this, and I was looking around, sort of idly looking in the various stalls where the livestock are kept. I wanted to ask a brief meta question. You had said before, you gave some backstory to the farm. Was that general knowledge, or was that like audience participation knowledge?
No, that was told to Rose, and it's assumed that Rose told you. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So the story about how the Polotnikovs encircled their farm to
Yeah.
sort of break their bond with the fairies.
That's
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, in that case, I think Tove is interested in helping out Talia up above.
Talia, you're approaching this like quivering, weeping hay pile. What do you do?
Start moving the hay aside. Come out. Come out.
You see a little girl inside the hay. You see her face, tear streaked, poking out of the hay. And she says, "I'm Masha."
What are you doing here, Masha? I'm Talia.
She says, I'm hiding. Well, I'm not hiding. I'm not scared, but I do you help her out?
Yeah, I help her out. I say, are you one of the Polotnikovs?
And she sort of like nods. She says, yes, yes, there was, well, Nikolai, my big brother, he went away somewhere. Then the fairies were all mean at tea time, and they didn't learn anything from my lessons, just like Lena. And then she ran away with them, and I couldn't do anything. And then father went to find her, which made mother angry, and she pushed that mean lady down the well and went after father. And then Timo went after mom. Then I wanted to go find them, but I saw the mean, scary lady from the granary, and I hid here.
You see that middle part? No, just kidding. Wow, I say. It sounds like you've had a very busy couple of days. Have you been hiding here this whole time?
I'm in the barn, yes. I like the animals.
Aren't you hungry?
And she has in her apron like a couple of apples and things like that.
Well, come down. This is probably no way for a little girl to live. And Oleg is in the house and he can probably take care of you, right?
Oh yes, I'm sure he can. And yeah, she'll go down with you.
Okay.
And you'll notice, Rose, that the horse has had its mane braided with very, very intricate braids.
Seems like someone took care of you.
Yeah, the animals seem like they're okay.
Yeah. I guess she'd want to just sort of poke around and see if there's anything else kind of, I don't know, odd. Everything seems kind of weird about this farm, especially with the deals with the Fae. I wonder if she'd try to keep an eye out for any sort of trinkets or
Yeah,
little
maybe.
like artifacts.
Yeah, do a hunt roll, let's see. You can also just spend a token to find something. So
Yeah, she'll spend a token, see if there's anything interesting here.
yeah. As you're poking around, having spent your token, you see what appears to be one of the, so I mentioned there were some farming tools, right? One of these spades hanging on the wall has an incredibly intricate carved wood handle inlaid with silver. It doesn't look like a regular spade. There's like something, it definitely seems like special and maybe speaks to the history of this place. It's also in very good condition compared to the other tools as well. Not rusted and things like that. But you can take that. It's worth 1
You're
gold.
coming home with me.
Indeed. Add it to your found equipment. It's worth 1 gold.
quality farming with that.
So Masha will leave the barn if you press her to, but she won't do it on her own, as she does seem very scared, in particular, of the mean lady in the granary.
Masha, do you know? You said your father left, and then your mother left in search of him. Do you know in which direction he went or they went?
She points toward the wall.
Okay. From where we are, can we see that? It looks like there's a rift in the wall. Can we
There
see
is,
that?
yeah,
Is it
especially from where you're
visible?
at. Yeah, you can see that there's a crack in the wall.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about walls, but I know when there's a hole in it like that, it's not really serving its purpose. Masha, are you okay to wait here and tend to the livestock?
Yeah, she will. She can stay there.
I was going to take her back into the house
Oh, okay, that's fine too.
because Oleg can take care of her. I mean, she's been alone for 2 days. I don't think that's really a great idea for a little girl.
Yeah.
So
There's you mentioned the woman in the granary. Do you mean Vierga?
She says, I don't know her name. I just know that she's scary and really mad.
Yeah, what do you two figure? If Oleg is bound to the house, do you suppose he's bound to like protect the people of the house? Like if
she seems to be comfortable with him. She's okay going there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's okay with that as long as you go with her.
Yeah, I'll take her back. I'll
Okay.
be right back.
Yeah, you can take her back, and Oleg will he'll see Masha and he'll say, Masha, and she says, Oleg, and she runs inside.
Okay.
But she was very nervous crossing the yard to the house the whole time.
Okay.
So
I will hold her hand on the way, and I'll ask her along the way. Do you know how your mother keeps Oleg in the house?
and she says, yes, she does the old magic on the windows and doors.
So I understand. Okay. Is there anything she uses as part of her magic, or does she just?
Well, at this point, if you take her to the house and you look above the thresholds of the windows and doors, you will see that there are placed above the thresholds essentially like nails, like iron nails and little iron, like literal irons and iron tools, like hanging above all of the windows and doors.
Okay. Okay. I will ask Oleg, if I free you from this place, will you still take care of the girl?
Yes, but if you free me from this place, I must go speak to my sister immediately.
All right, but come back and take care of the girl. We don't want to leave her to the elements.
So do you?
Yeah,
do you do?
I'll take the iron off the doors and throw it in the yard so it's not blocking his way.
Yeah, Sekol met. Oleg is freed. Oleg scampers across the yard, and he goes up the steps to the granary steps to the door of the granary, and he's calling in, and he says, Vierga, Vierga, let me in. We must talk. We must speak. And they're having some kind of conversation. You can't really hear it unless you get closer.
Okay. I tell Misha to stay in the house and get cleaned up, and I'll wave the other two over. Hopefully they've seen Oleg run across the way, but I'll wave them over and I'll head over to the granary.
Yeah, so what's everyone else doing?
yeah, I'll catch up.
Mhm.
Um,
Rose is definitely interested in what Oleg has to say.
I mentioned as I regroup with everyone that there seems to be a sizable gap in the stone wall up to the north.
Rose has equipped her new spade.
By the time you get over to the granary, Oleg turns to you and he says, my sister has agreed that she will bury her grudge against the Polotnikovs, and that she and I will leave this place together.
Can you take care of where are the Polotnikovs?
Well, my sister seems to believe that the Noon Lady is punishing them.
Well, who is this Noon Lady?
And Oleg says, it is probably best if I do not speak of her. The granary
Oleg.
door opens, and you see Virga, this monstrous creature with the talons and the bone skull. She removes an iron key hanging from around her neck and gives it to Oleg. He takes the key and he just hands the key to one of you. He says, we have no more use for this.
What is it?
It is the key that gives you access to the granary, of course.
Oh, all right. Is there something to the granary?
You look inside, there's a huge amount of grain in there.
Okay.
Just a huge amount. Like,
Oh,
we'll talk about the granary in a moment, but basically Oleg and Vierga, Oleg says, I will check in on Miss Masha before we go, but we are leaving this place.
Where will you go?
And he looks at the fence going to the outside world. He says, I think we shall ply our trade out there.
Okay, well, we have business here remaining, and we cannot care for the girl. Can you stay until we return?
No, we cannot. I will see to it she is fed, but that is all.
All right, well, tell her we will return hopefully in a day, and if we do not, she should head into town because she cannot live here by herself.
And Vierga and Oleg walk off in the general direction of the house.
Okay.
Oleg reaching up and holding on to his sister's talon. Very tall, very short.
Oh, I call out to Oleg, Masha's afraid of your sister. You should probably take note.
He nods, and yeah. So that's that goal complete. The granary, it's open.
Okay. I don't have any business in there, so I'm happy to lock it and keep hold of the key. But that's their livelihood, pretty much, right? That's why they have it under lock, I would assume.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, like, there is no lock mechanism on the door.
What?
Oh.
I look at the key in my hand and I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's like no hole, no anywhere that the key could fit.
No.
Oh, interesting.
Well, he was bound by iron, so maybe it was a magical.
Maybe. I will close the door. You guys, are both of you outside at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I'll close the door to the granary. Rose, try and go in. I'm going to step back away from the building.
Rose tries to go in, tries to push open the door.
You physically cannot open the door.
Oh,
Tries hard and no.
okay. I'll try opening the door.
Do you have the key?
I have it on. I have it in my hand, but I don't have a place to put it.
As long as you're holding the key, the door will open.
Okay.
I need to learn
That's
how to do that.
interesting.
You can add the key to your found equipment.
All right.
I think Rose wants to investigate this granary. She kind of turns to the others. There has to be something more than just a livelihood. Vierga was in here after all, and she wasn't bound to any building. I feel like there's something more here than just grain.
Well, you can search. I will stay by the door so it doesn't close on you.
If you want to, Tove mentioned a hole in the wall. There might be something there, or there's that odd tree behind the house.
I will not leave you alone in the granary if the door can close on you.
Could I have the key?
Oh, certainly. Yes, that makes sense too. I will give Rose the key.
Thank you.
Very well.
All right.
I will tell you that, Rose, I'll just tell you what the significance of the granary. I don't need you to do any rolls. Basically, if the Polotnikovs don't come back, if they never reestablish their household, and if you all were to take over the household, there's enough grain in here that over time it can be traded for up to 6 gold over time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Overtime is the key word there.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
You would if this were like your little home base, you would regularly be able to sell off some of the grain.
Neat.
There's no other significance to the granary, though.
Oh, shoot.
It's not like it's bigger on the inside.
No.
I was hoping there was
You're like,
like,
there's a
It's just
lot
a
of
kind of
grain.
like
gracious-
interdimensional
It's just
tunnel.
well stocked. I mean, either
Okay.
Virgo was lying about the Polotnikovs' like work
Being lazy-
ethic,
lazy about.
yeah, or someone else is doing it, right? So
Good.
All right, well, I'm satisfied.
very good. Well, so let's check in with Tove and Talia then, while Rose is sort of checking out the granary. What are you two up to?
Yeah, I'm heading up to that. Excuse me, heading up to that breach of the wall.
Yeah. And
Investigate.
what about you, Talia? What are you doing?
Let me see. So the wall is broken at number 6, but there's a tree at number 5.
Correct.
Um,
The tree is enormous. It's so big because the wall is pretty tall itself, and then the tree is very, very tall over the wall.
okay. I say stay safe. I'm gonna check out, as you said this side was broken. I'm gonna look at the side with the tree, because if the tree's going through the wall, that's broken too. I mean, just seems strange.
Does indeed. So we'll pick up with Tove. So Tove, you said you were going to go investigate the breach in the wall. As you approach, you see there is a large crack in the wall, and you will see a large mattock discarded near the ground, along with a pile of hardwood and iron. And you'll see, you'll hear from the other side of the wall, you will hear sort of like sounds of work being done, the swinging of tools, perhaps the humming of a working song.
Okay. Is it easy to see? Is there debris from the wall?
Yeah.
And can I tell on which side which side of the wall the debris lies? Was the wall broken from this side or from the opposite side?
It's do a hunt roll. I think just do a
Okay.
hunt roll and we'll get it figured out. Okay, take your token, but you encounter something terrible.
All right.
We'll talk about that in a moment. I'm gonna pick up with Talia.
Sure.
Talia, as you approach the tree has its own set goal.
Oh, neat.
That set goal is find the door to Fairy or the way from Fairy. But at the outset, it's a very large tree. Their leafy branches sort of have a silvery gleam to them, or just they're sort of like shining in the sunlight, you know. And it is a very, very big tree. What do you do?
Well, I haven't really put one of my skills to use, but I'm going to use my herbalism as best I can. This isn't really necessarily the perfect use for it, but understanding of plants and botany may be helpful to intuit something about the tree and the wall. And
I will tell you, I don't need a roll. I will tell you that the tree is not of this world.
oh,
Looking at it, how do you know that?
looking at it. The veins of the leaves pulse like blood is moving through them.
Very nice. They didn't teach you this in botany school. So what do you do then? Well, I'm checking with Rose. So Rose, what have you been up to?
I feel like Rose is more interested in the tree. It's weird how it's growing like over a wall. Like a hole's a hole in a wall, you know, but a tree is a little more interesting. So she's gonna make her way over, probably. Actually, hold on. On her way over to the tree, she's gonna stop in to the family house and check on Masha, make sure she's okay.
She seems to be. Yeah, she's kind of playing with the doll and keeping to herself.
She's gonna probably like sit down with her, take a bit of a breather, and be like, "So, what happened to make you so scared? It must have been something big."
And she sort of looks up at you. She seems much calmer than before. And she says, it all started when Nikolai ran away. Nikolai's my brother.
Why did Nikolai run?
And she kind of gets a little quiet. She says, I don't know, but Papa was very, very worried.
Do you know at all where he ran?
She points towards the direction of the wall.
And you said your papa was worried. I assume he went looking for Nikolai.
He did.
What about the rest of your family? It's very quiet here.
She says, Mama went looking for Papa.
Mhm. You said there was a mean lady your mama pushed down a well. She said she was your cousin. Have you ever seen her before?
No,
You don't know where she came from, do you?
no.
Okay. Well, you're safe now. We're looking to see if we can find anyone else here. If
He
you
nods.
need anything, we'll probably be around, but if you don't see us on the property, just stay in the house.
She nods.
Cool. Yeah, Rose is gonna get up and continue her way to the tree.
Well, so Tove, you hear the sounds of work coming from the other side of the crack. You see the wheat stalks. And it matches up with the story you were told that they walled up a wheat field. You know, there's another wheat field incidentally on the way in, but that's the one that the family works. This is the walled up one. What do you do?
You said I hear some conversation. Is it in a language that I understand, or?
It's mostly just like kind of, I would say it's hard to tell. You just hear like the sounds of like a work song, but you can't make out the words. It's distant.
Okay. And how big is the actual breach? Is it big enough for a man to step through?
Yes,
Big enough for
absolutely.
Oleg to step through? Okay.
Yeah, big enough.
And I'm sorry, did you tell me before whether it seemed like it was broken from this side or the other?
Hard to say, but the
Okay.
mattock is on this side, and there is a
Yeah.
mattock that might have been used to do it. So I will tell you this though, because that would be something terrible. In the distance, coming from somewhere, it's coming from your side of the wall, you hear the loud squeal of a pig.
Reminiscent of the party the previous night?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. And you said it's from over the wall?
It's from like your side, but like kind of behind you, like.
Oh, okay.
But in the distance. So.
Okay.
You don't recall seeing any pigs in the barn. So
Yeah. I'm gonna take up that mattock and kind of like rest it on my shoulder as I look. And I'm gonna try and peer. You said the wall itself is very tall, but the breach is big enough to look through. Without any. I'm gonna sort of on the careful side of casually like start to look like through the breach and see if I can see the folks who are talking or doing their work song.
Like hunt roll.
Okay. I'm not trying to surprise them, so I'm not including my surprise.
Okay. What'd you get?
4. Take a token and something bad happens.
Very good. Take your token. And there is some rustling coming from the wheat. Wheat stalks are very tall. And because normally, like I would think like the wheat on this side of the wall is probably like waist height. The wheat on this other side of the wall, the fairy side of the wall, is very tall. And you see some rustling in the stalks. And you see stepping out of the stalks toward you is what appears to be some kind of an entity. It's like if you took great big bundles of wheat and bound them together in the shape of a person, like an effigy, except it's tall and it walks and it is approaching the breach in the wall. It's approaching you, and it retrieves what appears to be a large scythe from behind itself, and it swings.
All right.
You are momentarily in combat by yourself. Please tell me how you're vulnerable.
Okay, well, I'm vulnerable because like an idiot, I'm sticking my head through the breach in the wall, which makes a fairly convenient, guillotine-esque target. And yes, I was not prepared for. I wasn't anticipating combat. I was mostly just curious, and I've got nothing particularly ready. I imagine it's going to be very difficult to like swing this.
Roll your weak point.
Mattock. You roll risk, is that what you, sorry?
No, weak/weak.
Weak, yeah, right. Okay,
Okay, weak point is 6, not great.
not great at all.
The creature has an endurance of 8.
Okay.
For the first round of combat, you roll combat 1. You have to get an 8 on a d6. Good luck.
All right. And I hit my weak.
The creature hits you. You can block the hit with armor, or you can just take the hit, in which case your ruin increases. But in any case, give me the first part of the combat with the creature striking you, either you blocking the hit or it hitting you.
Yeah, I'm looking down over the breach and trying to find the people who were chanting a work song or singing a work song and hearing sounds of labor when the tall wheat parts and this creature comes out bearing a scythe in a fluid motion. It just kind of like comes right at me. And I think I'm going to take. I think I'm going to take a hit as I'm imagining it kind of comes down and over the breach and catches me. I don't know whether that's going to be lethal or not. But
Increases your ruin by 1. It's not
By
lethal,
1,
but it
okay.
does hurt. And so your ruin goes up to 3. And do you call out to the others?
I hope I have time to call out in alarm and pain. Yes.
You have to go another round with it before the others arrive. So do a
Sure.
combat 2, please.
All right.
This time you can theoretically kill it though. So as long as you get 8. You did.
I also hit my weakness.
It does hit you. It hits you, but you do destroy it. So
All right.
give me the resolution here. What does it look like?
All right. I think this time it having cast the scythe down, it then reaches out with another, like a wheat tendril, kind of like comes off and grabs me and starts to pull me through. And I have just enough wherewithal to use my wicked stiletto on some of the bindings, and when it's unbound, it all just sort of like collapses into a pile of hay.
Nice. And are you taking that last hit that you got, or are you gonna?
Yes, I'll take that hit.
Okay, so your rune's at 4 now, but it's destroyed. Please roll gold 8. Great score, 3 on 8. That's really, really good. It's probability-wise, it's very high. Rose and Talia, do you respond to Tov's cries of help?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as you're running across the yard, you see Tove engaged with the creature, with the scythe swinging, and you see Tove like cut the bindings that are holding this like creature together, and just bundles of piles of wheat just collapse into it. The scythe is one of the treasures, so that's worth 1 gold. And then you have 2 others as well that people can define in order to take them and add them to their equipment.
I think it's all you, man.
Yeah, you did that.
I think the core of that creature was, I mean, we've already seen the importance of carven runes rather in various places, and I think the core of this creature is a stout piece of not an exotic wood, but one that's probably got a lot of folk importance behind it. It's been carefully like carved and polished, and then intricately carved with additional runes. And then I think that much like the shovel handle that Rose has, but it done in such a way that it kind of imbues it with something. And I believe the other was the binding. was like a simple hemp rope, but interwoven with some gold thread.
Okay, so add the gold threaded binding, the wood core, and the scythe to your found equipment. They're each worth 1 gold. All right. And you all get to name this creature as well at some point. Let's take our break now. Let's take 5 and we'll come back and pick up with that scene.
Cool.
Let's just have the scene with the 3 of you there at this the shambles of this creature.
All right. Did it seem to perturb or otherwise make curious the folks who were doing work on the other side of the wall?
No, and that those sounds are pretty distant. They might not even be aware of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I was under the impression it was like right just past the wall, but that's good. Good to know. Yeah, I look up from this kind of like sitting up, like hay in my hair, and see Talia and Rose coming up, and I did not expect that.
Are you okay?
I'm no, be sore in the morning, but
I say you appear to have some grievous wounds. Would you like me to take a look?
yes, that would be most kind.
What happened? What was that thing?
Giant walking shambling pile of hay. I don't know. It was came out of the tall wheat there. It was bearing this, and I kind of hold that giant scythe, blood-stained scythe up. Careful, that thing's sharp.
Well, I'm sure you'd be an expert on that.
Are we actually supposed to be going this way? Who has the map?
The map. Let's talk about the map.
That's a good question.
It's like, oh yeah, we're doing that here.
The map depicts a wheat field, and there are only 2 things marked off on it. On the northwest side of the wheat field, there is what appears to be like, it looks like some sort of like a drawing of like a statue or an idol of some sort. And it is noted that that's where the treasure is hidden underneath. That's in the sort of northwest corner of the field. And then in the northeast corner of the field, there's a house. And there's a note there that says, "Kindly old lady."
Huh.
Interesting.
The map is otherwise not too helpful.
No real scale provided. No notion of a wall or
no, you just
marking a tree.
Well, no, no, and I think you just have it on like a good word that this is the field that's being referred to in the map.
Okay.
Right?
And is it the field past the wall? And
Yeah, it's the field. It's the field on the other
so
side.
there's another house or structure. Anything that we can see? Does the breach in the wall allow affordance to the top of the wall? Can I climb the?
So if you look into the breach, you just see what appears to be like tall rows of wheat on either side and like a little bit of a path, but you can't see to the end of the path.
Okay.
And you can climb the wall. That's acceptable.
Yeah. Does it give us a view over the wheat? So do we see a structure that would?
You can hop over it, and you just see a seemingly endless, tall wheat stalks.
That's what I mean. From the top of the wall, can we see over the wheat? And we don't see
No.
a building or a structure up that way.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's no house to the northeast, and it just looks like wheat as far as I can see. I gingerly climb back down off the wall.
Let me take a look at that, I say.
Yes,
And
please.
I don't know that we've ever explored how or even whether it's possible to get. Oh yeah, we did. So healing is possible in combat. I just don't know if I have the skill, whether skill applies here.
You have the skill of
Surgery.
surgery, so that applies. You just have to do a risk roll, basically.
Okay.
If you're willing to do the risk roll, then you can attempt to patch up Tove and maybe lower his ruin.
Okay. And if I fail, bad things happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do you wish to
So,
try?
I say, well, it doesn't look too bad, but I might be able to help a little bit. Would you like
Fill
me
it
to
up or
try?
whatever. Yeah.
I would be ever so grateful. I'm not feeling my best right now.
Yeah, between herbs and surgery, you can kind of like, apply a poultice, you can sew him up,
Sure.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. I will do that, and I will take out a couple of timer glasses because that's what I do. He's in no real risk of dying, I don't think, but you never know.
You never know. Well, we'll talk about that right now. As players, myself and Zach and Jake get to say what we think could happen if you fail here. So I'll keep it very straightforward. You make it worse, essentially. Yeah.
What could go wrong is so far we've not seen any real bloodletting in this particular place, but I heard that that snuffling sound of the cries of a pig. It could be that fresh blood brings something closer.
Brings all our boys to the yard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
all our pig boys to the yard. Jake, any thoughts?
I was gonna say, without having like all the equipment that you would, I guess, normally have, the wound like is patched-ish, but some sort of like lingering hurt or pain would remain with Tove.
So let's talk about dice. You get your first light die because of your skills. Second light die is Devil's Bargain. We each get to make an offer of something that will happen no matter what, even whether you succeed or fail. I like where Zach was going with Pigman, and I think this is what I was going to offer regardless. So yeah, it just takes too long, and whatever that is catches up to you, no matter what. Any other offers?
I just got patched up. Yeah. No matter what, it uses up your sewing kit.
Oh,
These are pretty substantial cuts. I'm not sure how much. Well, yeah, it uses up your sewing kit. You don't have to take mine.
Any offers, Jake?
I can't really think of an offer now. I
You
like
got
what we got.
two unpleasant offers, Merwin. What do you want? Or none. You can reject them. Just take one die.
everybody seems to want to meet the pig, so I'll take the pig.
Very good. You have 2 light dice. Go ahead and roll risk 2.
Hey, there's a 6.
There you go. Good job. Tove, you can lower your ruin by 1.
Right.
Give us just the scene a little bit, Talia. What does it look like?
Okay. Talia lays out, she looks at his wounds, examines them briefly, and then lays out 2 of her hourglasses and flips one of them. And after she pulls out her sewing kit and then flips one of them to start working. And she has already assessed the wound. She works very, very briskly, almost as if she has known all along, these are the stitches she's going to make, and this is where, she has to shave some hair off of his head to make it work, that kind of thing. And it is fast enough that she doesn't have to flip the second hourglass. She's that quick. puts a bandage on, ties it off, and she's done before the first hourglass has dropped its last grain of sand.
You're feeling better, Tove. Rose, you're the first to hear it. A wild, guttural squeal, followed by the smashing sound of wood planks being busted, followed by Masha's scream from inside the house.
Oh no.
You can't see what's trying to get into the front door because of where you're at, but what do you do, Rose?
Rose, yeah, definitely alerts the others. Oh, gosh, what was that pig's name that the community
Oh,
was
Torbold.
appeasing?
Torbold.
Yeah, Torbold.
Torbold wants to enter the house, and she rushes over, readies her bow, and actually wants to ready her bind ritual for as soon as she clears the corner and has eyes on the pig.
You're gonna try to bind him first.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a risk roll. You get to the other side of the house. You see Torbold, child of Torbold, whatever it is, a great hulking figure. You just see it from behind, but you see that it has what appears to be a large cleaver and is just smashing the shit out of like just smashing shit. I actually have a picture of this beast. I will pull it up for you briefly. See it. It's fun when we have pictures of things. Give me just a moment. There he is. I'll pop it into the image board. That thing is
Nice.
swinging its large cleaver, smashing things. You can hear Masha screaming. Rose, you're going to try to bind it, which I think is a great idea. Let's talk about your dice. Do you have what could go wrong first, Merwin and Zach? Any thoughts?
Target is off, and she ends up binding Masha, making her a supremely easy
Yikes.
target.
I'm just going to go real hard since we don't have harmful children on our lines and veils. Masha, done for. So
Yeah. I think if the ritual goes wrong, Torbold is probably going to go after Rose.
okay, so
I
we have
think
some
just 'cause
options
she's
here.
making a lot of noise.
Let's talk about your dice, Rose. Do you have a relevant skill?
I have a beast skill and a hunting skill.
Okay, that's combined, especially. That's good. You have one light die. Devil's bargains, something that will happen no matter what. Who has an offer?
No matter what, Masha ends up running into the field.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
Ah,
I don't have anything better than that.
I
I'll
can't-
second that one.
I can't beat it. Yeah.
I
You have
do
one
really
offer.
like that. Yeah, I like that. Just like a narrative standpoint, that's cool.
And you have to take a dark because of the ritual. So go ahead and roll risk 2-1.
3.
That is a fail. You can add a dark die to reroll, or if somebody wants to attempt to help, we can also get a help in here first.
This is just covering the bind.
This is just to
ritual,
bind,
though, right?
just to bind the creature in place. Yeah.
Outside of maybe distracting it and sort of keeping it in place while it,
That works. Yeah.
yeah, Tove will recently patched up toe will be yeah, just shout, get off her, leave her be.
Roll /weak. I think it's obvious how you're vulnerable. Roll /weak. Your ruin doesn't go up, but you also don't help. So with a 3. Talia, do you want to try to help? Oh, Talia.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I Talia doesn't really have anything to help, which is the problem here.
Rose, would you like to add a dark die to roll again?
Yeah, I'll give it the old college try.
Risk 2/2. That's
That is
better.
a 5.
Looks-
That is my dark die.
Yeah, your ruin's going up, but you do succeed, but there's a complication on the success. You have to stop here because dark is high.
Right.
I think the complication quite simply is that your ruin is going up because I'm giving you a condition. I think you somehow tap into the sort of spiritual lineage of Torbold. So we'll figure out how to define the condition in a moment. But for now, give us the magic. What does it look like?
Yeah, so just like with the rune stag, the first arrow probably like goes wide or something, sticks into the wall of the house, and some like vines sprout from there. She curses under her breath, quickly knocks again while Tove is attempting his best to distract this pig creature. She says her prayer, lines up, and looses the arrow. And in that split moment, I would say she probably like makes eye contact with this pig, and just something like deep in the back of her mind kind of like cracks a bit, seeing such a horrific monster. But the arrow does sting true into like the flank of this thing and ends up holding it in place as vines sprout around it. She's probably staggered back a bit.
Yeah, that's good. Masha runs out of the house and just runs toward the wall, and she's just screaming the whole way, runs towards the wall, jumps through the crevasse in the wall, and is gone.
Oh, you silly girl. Oh.
But the pig creature is bound in the house, and as long as, sounds like, Rose, maybe you have to like kind of stay there to maintain him, or not necessarily, I guess. What do you all do at this point, I guess, is what I want to know.
Curse.
Son of a, yeah. Had we heard any stories about Torbold? Like,
just the things
obviously it looks like he's a scary dude, but I don't know if maybe it's just like,
just the things you heard.
He's just a
well, the thing that you'll probably
friendly butcher.
The thing you'll probably pick up, you'll recall from the festival, is that this is not Torbold. This is like the children of Torbold. Like when Torbold ran into the forest a long time ago. These are what was left afterwards.
Okay. So well, if he's bound, should two of us dispatch him and the other go looking for Masha?
I don't like the idea of this creature, pursuing us through a wheat field of other monsters. So Rose is definitely down for making pork chops.
How are you going to do it?
Just wail on him. I'd assume.
He's yeah, he's still dangerous bound. So if you want to like just run up and hit him, it'll be a combat, but it'll be an easier combat because he's bound. Or if you have some way of taking him out at a distance, I suppose that's also a possibility.
Mhm. I mean, Rose does have her like bow and arrows, but I would imagine this creature is stronger than just mortal weapons. So I mean, I'm definitely down for an easier combat if someone else would want to hop in and help, unless, of course, there's other ideas as well.
It's in the house.
It is in the house, yeah.
I wonder if it's bound by the same. I wonder if it's bound by the same rules as other Fae. Like, I wonder if we can trap it in the house by putting those iron nails back above the door and windows, and then we back out, and it's just sort of stuck in there for.
I don't know enough about that stuff, so.
I don't know either.
Hmm.
Works for one freaky supernatural thing. It's got to work for everything.
True. There's also simply burning down the house and hoping we immolate it as well.
I wasn't going to say it.
Rose, I've thought of your condition. You take the condition Spirit of Torvald.
Oh, yay.
We put up the iron and then Rose can't leave. Yeah, I mean, Tove is of a mind. It's recent enough, and we've simply moved some of that stuff away so that Oleg could get out. While it's bound, what's the nature of its binding? Is it just stationary? You said it was still dangerous, so presumably that means it can like reach, but
It's got a lot of reach and a big cleaver.
yeah. It simply can't move its feet from where it is.
Yeah, it's like stuck in place.
Yeah. Well, we can all like see if we can gang up on it and thrash it. Maybe that's the best route. Because if we light it on fire, there's a whole wheat field over there that's going to catch.
You got.
I'll tell you that
burning
binding it takes it from an endurance 9 to an endurance 6. So it's a really easy fight.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
Fairly
yeah,
low-
between
low
the
danger.
three of us.
Yeah, let's
I
take
think
it.
the three of us can take it out.
You still have to roll weak points. Just describe how you are vulnerable and then roll your
Okay.
weak point.
I'm vulnerable because I'm still pretty beat up. I've got freshly tended wounds that could reopen very easily, in addition to being more grievously harmed by that cleaver.
Talia doesn't have a ranged weapon, so she's going to have to get in close to hamstring the creature or something.
Yep, sounds good.
Rose is still kind of shaken up from her newfound condition, so she's probably not the most accurate.
Very good. I'll also note here that you don't all have to do this. Only the people who are going to try to kill it need to like go in there and do this. So
Yeah, but more dice is better.
yeah. So you've got a 4,
2
2, and what's the other weak point on the table?
Rose and stuff.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Or no, it's
Oh, boy.
2, 4, and 5.
2, 4, and 5. Okay, sounds good. It is a combat 3. So why don't you go ahead and roll it, Tove?
2 6s and a 2. I hit my weak point. Oh no!
You absolutely decimate the creature, but you do get hit in the middle of it. So you can either mark your armor or just take that ruin again.
I
It
think-
heals
I think-
you.
I think my armor is gonna protect me this time, but take a substantial hit. So I'm
So
gonna check
why don't
the
you
box.
kick off the first part of the fight, Tove?
All right. The two of us come in. I'm assuming Rose was in there or did this through the door, but yeah, Tove goes in, sees the creature unable to like move its feet, and probably Tove takes that a little optimistically, naively, and comes in to get it like right under the rib cage, not realizing that cleaver comes down pretty hard right across, the front of my leather jacket. So it basically renders that kind of useless. But he does get it right up under the ribs.
Rose, keep the combat going.
Yeah. So as it like swings its cleaver down, it probably opens up, and Rose is able to like launch an arrow into like, I guess like the base of its neck, sort of causing it to maybe open up enough for Talia to do some damage.
Finish it off, Talia.
I'm going to say that it drops its cleaver when when Rose's arrow goes through its neck, because it's almost gone, and Talia just grabs the cleaver instead of using her scalpel and chops it in the neck.
Nice. And it lets out a last guttural, small, tinny squeal and collapses down hard on the floorboards of the house and is dead. Rose, roll a gold 6.
Sorry, back. Ooh, okay.
You guys are killing it
Okay.
on gold rolls. Yeah, you get you can scavenge 2 gold's worth of treasures off this thing. The cleaver is one of them, but somebody can take that. But you can also name another treasure. Who's taking the cleaver?
Rose will take the cleaver.
Add it to your
Feeling
spade.
yeah, just getting an arsenal. She also feels maybe a little too connected to this thing.
Yeah. The value of this cleaver, there's nothing particularly valuable about it intrinsically. Its value is in the story when you go to sell it. So, yeah.
Are those tusks worth anything?
If somebody wants to name one of the tusks, name the tusks. Yeah, you can name the tusks and take gold.
I think Talia should take the other.
Okay. I'm actually gonna hazard a guess that the children of Torvald aren't, they were something else before they became what they are. So I have a memento of whatever this creature's previous life was. Maybe a necklace with a locket.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's good. Well, by the time you do all this, it's getting to be, it's probably well past noon at this point, probably like 1 o'clock or so, maybe 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. The sun is starting to lower in the sky. And Masha's run off into the field. You've secured the granary. You have secured the house and the barn. The well is free of noon flame spirits. There's a great big tree, and there is a crack in the wall. So, what are we doing next?
Is it dark yet, or is it just twilight?
No, it's not even close to that. It's like the sun is just this. It's like 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, sorry.
And did we get a good glimpse of which direction Masha ran off in?
She ran through the gap in the wall.
Through the gap. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a path there. So,
Yeah.
Assuming she isn't completely out of her head, she'll probably be on the path somewhere. Well, we could go follow Masha. It's not, I think as a group, we probably wanted to go investigate the tree some more, but
There is a little girl.
there's a little girl
Lost in
wandering
the weeds.
wheat.
Well, you can
Less treasure.
you can get that set goal in a hurry by spending 3 tokens. So the tree set goal you can meet
That's a
it
good point.
right
I've
away.
got a surplus of tokens.
Yeah, and the important thing about tokens is if you roll a 1 or your hunt roll ends up being a 1, you lose them all.
Yeah. Let's I'll spend the 3 to find that set goal, but let's figure out how we're going to narratively figure that out.
Oh no, I just tell
Uh,
you. You just spend a
okay.
token. That's what
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, don't we have to like come up with something that
Just
fits?
spend the
Okay,
tokens. Yeah.
I'll spend the tokens.
3 tokens, automatic success. You will walk over to the tree and you will notice that in its root structure, behind the roots, in the wall, there is a little door. This door, obviously magical in nature, obviously has a connection to whatever is on the other side. Out of character, it is the way into fairy and the way out of fairy. That's important. But it's not the direction that Masha ran. Masha went through the wall,
Right.
through the crevasse.
All right.
The cycles met.
We will check on you later. Let's go find that kid.
So, is everybody going through the crevasse?
Yep.
Let me take a look at the, pull up the adventure here. You step through the crevasse, and unlike on the other side of the wall, as soon as you cross the threshold of the wall, it's nighttime on the path. You see the wheat in every direction and behind you. Behind you, you just see, it looks like the wall, but as if the wall was crumbled down to nothing, just piles of rubble. And wheat going in that direction too. There's no more sign of the farmhouse or the granary or the barn.
What happens if we try and step over the rubble again?
Nothing. You're just nothing. It's just
So we're
wheat.
stuck. So we're stuck here now, seemingly.
Seems like it. I will tell you though that there is a path, and
Excellent.
that path is the path. It's the same path that Masha ran down, and it goes north, and you cannot see much. There's moonlight, but it's still quite dark. Does anybody have torches or want to pull something from their additional equipment to make a torch or a lantern?
Yeah, I'll take a torch out of my backpack. I'll take a lantern out of my backpack. I don't want to cause any undue
Talia will offer to hold it
wildfires.
so that you can keep your hands free, or I can take it myself. Your choice. Out of my backpack, that is.
Sounds like, so Tove, are you giving the lantern to Talia?
Yeah. I will hand that
Okay.
over.
All right. I'll hold it up high enough for everyone to see, but I don't really have a weapon that's as these guys are much better at that than I am.
Well, so Rose, marching forward.
Marching forward. Probably like we should definitely be quiet. If anything that we've learned, we are not alone. Would Rose have heard back when we were checking on Tove, the working song from earlier, or is that still being sung?
I think it's not being sung anymore. I think that probably only Tove was really paying attention to that in it because it was a pretty distant song. You had to be kind of listening for it.
Sure.
There is a set goal for the western part of the field, which is what you're in. And that set goal is gain access to the tunnels beneath the field.
What's the ground like here? Has it been dry and clear the past several days?
take a hunt roll. Let's see.
Okay. Mostly I want to see if there are any tracks that we can follow. If she's
Yeah.
running, there's a chance that she's made more substantial tracks.
Yeah, take a hunt roll.
I don't think I've got anything, but if Rose wanted to help with
The
Or
lantern,
hunting?
maybe. Yeah, or it could be
Or
like putting
her
a lantern
hunting.
close to the ground, right? Just
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, I mean, Rose has hunting, so she
And
definitely.
I've got the lantern, so we've got 2 more dice.
Let's go with the lantern. So just say hunt two.
Oh, all right.
Hey, you get your token.
God.
I need to actually check the module. I think it does say something about footprints, but I need to look. Yes, there are layers of footprints, new ones and old ones of various sizes going in to the field.
all right. Well, let's
And you get a token. So
I took the token. If we're let's follow the footprints and let's make note. Somehow we can leave a trinket or something behind if they diverge. So long as the tracks are going together, we'll just keep following them. And we'll mark somehow places where they diverge. Maybe we'll use a big honking scythe and like cut a notch in the wheat where it branches off or something.
you're walking for a time forward, and it feels like you're walking for just a few minutes down the lane, down the path, except it's not. It feels like a few minutes, but before you know it, the sun is high in the sky again. You
Okay.
have the exhaustion of having walked all night, but you have the knowing of you've only been walking for a little bit. And you find yourself at a junction. This junction, it continues going north, but then a path breaks off to the west. What do you do? And it's now full daylight.
I remarked that heading off to the west would put to the northwest, which is where that treasure was marked on the map that we had in the northwest of the field.
Which way do Masha's footprints go?
Important things, priorities.
So at this point, the sun has baked the footprints and baked the ground hard so that the footprints do end at this junction. It's unclear which direction Masha went.
Well,
She was probably heading for the treasure. You said it's just a straight T, so the path continues to the north, but then
And
also
then
branches
it
off
juts
to the
off
west.
to the west.
Okay. We're definitely in a weird place. If we take, 5 steps north on the trail and turn around, does the westward branch still like show?
It does, yeah.
Okay, so it's more of a temporal weirdness and not necessarily a spatial weirdness.
So if
it's good to
if the map is for as little as the map shows, if the map is to be trusted beyond its vagueness, if she ends up with the kindly old woman, I don't think that's a bad thing. So we should probably head west.
I will tell you that you could head northwest by going through the wheat.
This seems like a terrible
That
idea, and
sounds
I
like a
don't like it.
terrible
Yeah.
idea.
Who said that?
So
Who
it
gave us
suggests
that
the
idea?
GM. The GM says you could walk through the wheat,
yeah, Rose would definitely be okay with heading west as well. It's like we don't know where she went, so anywhere seems like a good guess at this point.
So to the west then?
To the west.
To the west.
To the west.
The west.
You are walking for a time to the west. It is full daylight. The sun's high in the sky, as I've noted. And I just take just a little quick glance at the module here. And a little ways ahead, you see, make sure I've got this right. Excuse me. A little ways ahead, you see someone approaching. They're approaching slowly.
Is it still apparently daylight?
It is daylight.
Okay, so we could probably make a little bit out.
You can make him out. It's a young man. He is attached. He's yoked to a plow, like a beam. But he doesn't seem to be dragging anything behind him. It's just the beam. And he is sunburnt very badly. His hair bleached as yellow as wheat. And he looks up and sees you and says, "Oh, hello."
Are you Polotnikov?
Yes, I am. That's right. I'm Nikolai, and I am in love with the Noon Lady. I'm so happy to be able to plow her fields. I'm so happy to be able to work. She likes that, you know? She likes when you put your back into it.
And just to be clear, there's no plow. Or
It's not
anything,
actually, no,
it's
it's
just the
it's just the beam.
yoke.
It's just the yoke, yeah.
How long have you been? Rose kind of like looks like behind him, plowing this field.
Not long enough.
Talia is very confused again, and she scratches her head and she says, "You know, you don't have a plow on that."
Have you seen her? Have you seen the Noon Lady? Her feathers, brilliant in the sun, turquoise and amber and gold.
Have you seen your sister, perhaps?
My what?
Your sister.
Oh, yes, I do have. I do have a sister. Yes, I do. I have two sisters. Though their names escape me.
Well, one of them is
Masha?
Masha.
Masha, yes, Masha. I hope that Masha has found herself in service to the Noon Lady so that she can understand the happiness that I have found.
I see.
You look parched, my friend.
It is nothing to suffer for her. He continues on down the lane if you don't delay him.
I kind of don't want to, get, stop his roll, but presumably he hasn't met anyone. Well, have you met anyone else coming this way while you were approaching?
He keeps going past you and he says, I see my mother and my father about from time to time.
Good.
Father never has much to say. And mother, she just hides in her hole.
Where is this?
He says nothing and continues down the direction you came from.
Where can we find the Noon Lady?
There's no need to go looking, for she will find you.
Oh, lovely.
That's not creepy at all.
Well,
All right, well, I shrug and it's like, I can't help him and help the girl. And
Yeah.
It's sounding to me like Masha didn't come this way, but we're already halfway to wherever we're going, I'm assuming. So let's finish the route and see if we can find any of the other Polotniks.
mhm. I don't know if we'd be able to help the Polotniks at all, much less do so without harming ourselves.
We need to find a way out of this place, and going back over the wall is not an option.
Well, we know how to get out of Fae. If we can find that tree again, we should be able to find the door.
You think we're in the Fae?
This place
You
ain't
think
normal.
this is normal?
It may not be normal, but I don't know that it's the Fae.
That's fair.
That's
but it's closer to the Fae than anything I've been familiar with.
You have a point.
If we do get back to that wall at some point and we follow it along to the east, even if it's just rubble, we may come to the tree.
I like your thinking.
Yes.
But I think we should continue. Let's go. I think we should go back to the main north-south path and continue on looking for Masha, assuming she hasn't run off into the wheat. Incidentally, like the wheat presumably grows regularly enough that if someone were to run off into it, it would probably break stalks and things and be otherwise noticeable as like a track.
Possibly, yeah. Do you want to go into the wheat field?
Not really. No. Was Nikolai sticking to the path that we were on?
The what? Sticking to the path?
Was he sticking to the path, or was he?
Oh,
off,
Nikolai's walking in the direction you came from.
but on the path. He's not
Yeah,
like
on the path,
crossing or
No, he's
going
on
into
the
the
path.
wheat fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely on the path.
Yeah, I think we should stick to the path if we can, if we have the option, and we haven't really explored all the way in either direction. So if he hasn't seen anybody else, and if we can trust that, he seems a little bit whacked out. I'd say we go back to the north-south path and continue looking for Masha to the north.
Oh, you want to go back down the way we came and then go back north?
Well, it depends on what our priority is. If our priority is to find Masha, and if we can trust Nikolai, then she didn't come this way.
Mhm. Man, we are almost to the point of the map where treasure is supposedly.
No, I know.
I think we should stay. I would say we stay on the path we're on until we reach that point at least and see
All
what's
right.
there. And then we can turn around.
We may end up finding something useful as well. Not just the buried promise, but something else that might tell us more about this field.
All right. I'm with you. Let's do it. And with haste, let's head off to the west.
You continue
another
west for a time.
Night and a day pass.
You continue west for a time. And before you know it, the moon is high in the sky. The path continues to the west, but then breaks off to the south.
It's the wrong way.
Looking at the map, would we be able to roughly discern where we could be in like relevance to the X?
You are south of it.
Just south of it.
Not just south of it, you are
Not
south
just.
of it.
We might have to go through the wheat if we want to reach our point.
What are you, the game master?
Um,
Do we does the trail show any sign, does the path show any sign of ending, or does it just continue on?
It just goes
indefinitely?
down south a bit. Yeah.
Standing on, I've got 300 feet of twine. I want to try something. Space may work weirdly here too. We certainly know that time does. So with my big scythe, I'm gonna stand on the path. I'm gonna shunk a couple of big swaths and tie the twine to myself and hand it to Rose. I'm gonna like step off into where I've been shunking, right? And just gonna continue whacking a new path off to the north for 5 or so swipes and steps. And can I still see them when I turn around? I'm still connected.
You're going into the wheat.
Yeah.
You
Not only am I going in, I'm cutting down the wheat.
you take a swipe at the wheat, and a number of shafts fall away. And standing in front of you is a man who is dressed in rags. He has an exposed chest cavity filled with wheat and straw and vegetable matter. His eyes have been replaced with buttons. His mouth is sewn. And he looks at you and he just says, and we'll end our session there.
Excellent.
Hey!
Dang.
Let's do stars and wishes. Stars, of course, are things you enjoyed. Wishes are things you hope to see in our little conclusion next week. So take it away.
Stars. I loved all the set dressing, all the little bits of weirdness, the 2 house spirits, the chattering voices in the distance. I liked rolling big on a couple of combats. That was fun.
Yeah, I would like to definitely give a star to all of the. I don't know how you guys end up with 6 tokens for one person, but I would like to give a star for that. That's pretty freaking amazing.
The hunt rolls were very kind to you today. I feel like
Yeah.
there was a lot of kindness in the hunt roll. The die roller was very nice.
The big star for me has definitely been how we've been working as a team. I feel like we've been spreading out very well, poking around in like all the right places and divvying up and delegating the tasks pretty darn well.
Yeah, I think that counts for those high token numbers, just by being thorough and exploring rather than relying on shortcutting.
Well, it was fun because like those collecting the tokens paid off because you were in a hurry and you needed to know quickly what the tree does, and then so you can get after Masha, which I thought was great. So because imagine if you had not had the tokens, you would have to
step over and
you'd have stepped over and had no idea how to get back, right? So
Right,
yeah. Which I think is interesting. my stars, I really, I really like this module. It's very easy to run, and I like the sort of way that the sort of backstory of the place unfurls as you sort of look around and stuff. I really enjoyed that. I just like the overall tone as well. And I also but I like how it melds with Trophy Gold, because Trophy Gold inserts things that the module hadn't really anticipated, like Torbold and like all that stuff, you know. So that was really fun to just sort of see it all kind of like. I always like that merging of this module made for a different type of system, but what Trophy Gold sort of brings to it. So it was really fun for me. And you all did a great job today too with your role play.
Thanks. Good running.
I do definitely want to meet the rest of the family and see, what they're up to.
I think we just met Papa.
It's definitely been very creative how they're being punished.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm hoping to like fully soak in. One of the reasons I backed this module in the first place was a deep and abiding love of this kind of folk horror, and so I hope to just soak in it some more.
I wish. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
Oh no, I was just saying, I don't think we really explored the idea of it, but there's a piece of me that's wondering at this point whether the amount of grain in the granary could have been harvested from the wheat fields on the correct side of the fence or not. That's kind of what's running through my head at the moment. But my wish is for the kindly old lady to be a kindly old lady.
We'll see. My wish, I really, I'm really enjoying this. I hope that we get to, we may not have time to see everything next week, but I do hope we get to just see lots more of it. And I'll just be curious to see sort of what decisions you all make, because the secals start to become very like either or at a certain point. And so it'll be kind of fun to see that play out.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to it.
Are there any more stars and wishes before we go?
I wish we survive.
You're all in pretty good shape. You're all in fairly good shape still, so I think you'll be okay. I'll also be curious to see if Darren and Osto come back. I don't know yet. So, and if so, how does Osto get introduced again? That'll be interesting.
I'm operating on the assumption that while the possibilities are there for Trophy Gold, it's less of a foregone conclusion that it's like a descent into destruction.
The funny thing about like Trophy Gold is what I think is really great about Trophy Gold, and it's been designed this really intentionally this way, because I was there at the beginning when Jesse was designing it, and I know it's designed to feel more dangerous than it is. So like you're actually much more you can survive much better than it kind of seems like it, but there is a switch too. Like at a certain point, the pressures start to build to where you do have to start making decisions about, okay, how much longer are we, how much further are we going? How much longer are we doing this? How much more are we going to push it? But as long as you've got armor, like you can last a little bit, so I like that. I like the build to it. I think the build is good.
Yeah. Deciding, like trying to weigh that and being like, well, we've got one more session. I've gotten, one of my ruin sort of tidied up. I could probably let my armor go at this point, and then trying to meta it a little bit, but
oh no, you absolutely should. I mean, the game is it's a game. Like Jesse designed it to be a game. Like there is a game consideration with the currency of the tokens and secals and all that stuff, right? So, but yeah, fabulous. Well, I don't have anything else. Are we all good? Anybody else have anything else to say, or are we good to go?
Good.
Great. Okay. Thanks for playing, everybody. Thanks for running.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.